What's up, YouTube, and welcome to my channel, Kiki's Convos. I am back with another video for Girl Talk Tuesday, and I have my former bestie here, Allison Torres Lagos. Yes, so Allison, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, to begin with, I'm originally from Chile. I immigrated here back in 2004. I moved around my whole life. I finished high school in Cleveland, and then I went to college in Miami, Florida, and I just graduated and had a baby.
Tell them you did it in a year and a half early, just in case y'all were wondering.
Yeah, I did it. Yeah, I did it in a year and a half early, so I'm super proud of myself.
Oh, you graduated a year and a half early. I said did it. That's how they so weird. You graduated a year and a half early.
Yeah, so I was in college for 3 years and a half.
And your major?
Sports broadcasting.
Yes. She has a baby. She's so cute. My niece, Isabella. I just love her. Anyway, so our topic today we're going to be covering is when is the right time to have a baby? Now, Allison just had a baby, so I figured she's a perfect person for this. So, Allison, when do you think is the right time to have a baby?
So, I can't really say any time is a right time. I would say there's a more so a comfortable time versus right, because I feel like no matter how prepared you think you are or how like anything you got going on, I don't think it prepares you enough for a baby. So I think that you could be comfortable, but I don't think the right time kind of exists in a way.
I definitely agree. I mean, I don't have any kids yet, so I don't know when the right time is to have a baby, but I feel like there's like really no right or wrong answer. I mean, are there times more is there more of a preference when you should have a baby? Yes, preferably when you're married, when you have a career, when you've been to school, if that's what you choose to do. A lot of people say that's when the right time is to have a baby, but I mean, there are people who are married who are basically single mothers because the father, some people are really stuck in this like old age way of thinking where they feel like, okay, the father should go to work, pay the bills, take care of everything around the house, or take care of everything in the house. And whereas like mothers are supposed to, I saw a post the other day where it was like basically glorifying fathers for doing the same exact thing a mother should do, but it's not as glorified or it's not as praised because a mother is expected to do this. So, we're glorifying dads. If a dad is like, oh my gosh, he's taking his child to the park, such a great dad. Or if a dad like does his child's hair, oh my gosh, such a great dad. But if a mom does it, it's like, okay, well, that's expected of you. Like, society does that.
Right. Right. And I also feel like since they do that, society, when they see an active father in a child's life, it's like, wow,
Yeah.
So I feel like we're in a position where it's a lot of women now that I feel like are stuck as being single parents. And, it honestly sucks because having a baby is a lot of work. Like me, I'm a single parent. So from the jump, everything falls back on me. So no matter what I do, or however my situation is, everything ends up falling back on me, and people, judge me because I'm the only one to judge. So that's the thing that kind of sucks, where when you're a single parent, everything you do, it just reflects back on you. You take the criticism any type of way, and it just, it kind of sucks, but at the end of the day, as long as you handle your business, I think everyone is fine. Like right now, I'm pretty good in the position I'm in.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I also think, when a girl gets pregnant at a young age, society has a way of like blaming the woman in a sort of sense, like, oh, you shouldn't have went and got pregnant or whatever. Like, you don't really hear as much backlash on the male as you do the female. So I really think that, like you said, it definitely does fall back on the mom. And the mom goes through more like, post-traumatic stress disorder, after you just had a baby, like that's close to y'all. Cause listen, whoo, if you've never seen how a baby, you've never seen a natural birth, you need to go watch A Natural Birth, honey, because it is no joke. Okay. Woo, child. Had
Oh,
to
no, I
do.
wanted to me, labor was, like, 0 out of 10. I really just wanted to die at that point only because of the pain, like, I really
Yeah.
could not. Like, that's something I wouldn't say traumatized me, but it's something I definitely won't forget. Like, that pain, no. Mm-mm.
At least
No,
you're
no, no,
honest
no.
though. Some people like, oh, like my mom told me, she, oh, wasn't that bad? I'm like, but then when I got older, she was like, oh no, it hurt. So when I was younger, she said
Yeah.
it wasn't that bad. But when I got older, she's like, oh no, it hurt. 'Cause she had both me and my brother naturally. So
Right, and I also feel like it do depend on the person, like, if you get induced, if it's, like, 100% natural, if it's, like, a
yeah,
water birth and stuff like that.
yeah,
So I think it honestly depends, but to my experience, it was painful, so
yeah, yeah. And
so
yeah. Well, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
no, I finished.
Oh, okay. And I just feel like society has done a fair share of telling women what to do, criticizing women, especially when it comes to children. If you don't know, or you didn't just hear what happened over this past weekend, they overturned Roe versus Wade, which is basically giving females or women the right to have abortions. Now, why a woman's uterus is even a law or something that's even that we even had to go to court for and fight for is just baffling to me. The fact that we even had to fight for this because my choice, my body, whatever I want to do. And the thing is, we're not even providing, America is not even providing funds for us to take care of these babies that they want so bad. Like, there's a formula shortage. Why?
Exactly, and then, like, I would say my stance on it, I see both sides of the argument, like, I understand
Mhm,
both of what they believe in and what they
mhm,
don't believe in.
mhm.
But it's like at the end of the day, why do it really matter what the next person does? Like I feel like that's none of your business. Versus if someone were to get an abortion, okay, how does that affect your day? Like how does that affect you if you
Yeah.
didn't go through it?
Did it really like? Did you really sit?
You know?
Like, let's think about it. Do you really sit in your car? Let's say you're in traffic or you're driving or whatever. Do you really sit there and be like, I wonder who got an abortion today? And then you start crying about it. Like, no, you don't care. Let's just like y'all don't care, honestly. And I mean, I do agree with what you were saying. How I do see both sides. I feel like I am a Christian, so I do feel like personally if you go, you lay down, you do what you have to do, and then all of a sudden you want to get an abortion to cover up your mistake, I think it's wrong because there are other forms and other ways to not get pregnant. You could take a plan B, you could have got yourself on birth control, or you could have used condoms. Simple as that, the old fashioned way. So I do think
Right.
there are other alternatives you could take to not get pregnant. But I'm not talking about instances like that where, okay, you knew what you were doing, so these are the consequences. You lay in your bed, you got to make it. I'm talking about
Right.
consequences I'm talking about instances that are beyond our control. For instance, if a girl gets raped and she gets pregnant, she's forced to raise that child. Now, technically speaking, this law only bans safe abortions. That doesn't mean people aren't going to get them. Like, at the end of the day, people are still
Right.
wrong. People obviously break laws every day. That's not the problem. The problem is they're banning safe abortions, which makes it which puts women more at risk to even, you know, go through with the process.
Exactly. And
And
then
then,
now I what was you gonna say?
and then I was just saying, like, people who, the people, because the abortions, we always know, like, cost of demand. We always know because there will be such a high demand for these abortions that aren't safe, they're going to go up in cost. So people aren't going to be able to afford them. So people who live in lower income, who have a lower, or from a lower income family, they won't be able to afford these abortions. So then they'll be stuck raising a child and be in poverty even more. So, yeah,
Right.
we're doing great. We're doing great.
Right, and then also, I feel like it's gonna probably also raise, unsafe abortions is going to also probably raise some sort of suicide rate within women too, because now I feel like they're not gonna know what to do in panic, and then that's gonna also raise.
I never even
And
thought
then
about
I
that.
know that, yeah, and then I know that some states they're gonna still offer it because now it's kind of like a state by state kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I still feel like with the argument still going on, it could be a chance that another bill could be set in place because I even though there's a lot of people for it, there's still a lot of people against it. And then I know that this upcoming November, I believe that there's an election coming up for different state senators, so that could also change because once a certain type of senator is out, the rules for the state could potentially change. So I feel like even though it has happened now, it is pretty impactful because I know, like in Arkansas, they automatically canceled all scheduled abortions that were coming up.
Right. Yep.
So, and I believe another state recently did that too. So it's kind of like a domino effect, but
Yeah.
hopefully everything gets situated within maybe a year or a couple years. I don't know how soon it can be since it literally just happened. And I know
Right.
that there's still a lot of discussion.
Some states.
But then the also, right, and then also like another thing besides Roe versus Wade, they're looking at other situations now that they're looking to overturn, such as like, same sex marriage and stuff like that. I'm just like at this point they're involving too much of one's beliefs versus like keeping it just about politics,
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
now they're trying to involve stuff with the church into politics,
Right.
and I feel like
Right.
the church and politics is two different things, and that should not be combined. Because I
Correct.
feel like now, because usually with politics, it's supposed to be really unbiased, but once you start involving like people's beliefs, I think now it becomes more personal, and I personally don't think that's right because personal choices or the personal freedom of for you to do whatever should really stay, in my opinion, should stay out of politics.
I completely agree. We shouldn't inflict our beliefs on other people and try to force them to believe what we believe. You're gonna People have their own minds. So some people have their own minds, and let them think for themselves. Like, we're adults. We're consenting adults at this point. No,
Right.
yeah, we screwed, girl. We live in Ohio. Mr. Gavin will do whatever he want to do. Okay, he's conservative. So, but I do like Mr. Gavin Newsom. He lives, girl. If California had all the wildfires, I would be there because Mr. Gavin Newsom said that abortions are still legal in California. And if you don't know about Mr. Gavin Newsom, he also back in September made it a requirement for high school students to have ethnic studies in order to graduate. And he also has free sanitary napkins and free feminine products in schools. I'm like, that is great. We are
Right.
the way to go. And he's a
Right.
white man. I know that's right. Because y'all, lately, because of this, I have not been wanting to be around masculine energy except my boyfriend and like my family and friends. This is stressing me out. This is stressful. Like, and also
Right.
I wanted to touch on Judge Clarence Thomas. He wrote to the Supreme Court that they should reconsider rulings that are in favor of same-sex marriage, like you said, same-sex relationships and contraception. And like you said, we're going backwards, and we're dipping in too much people's personal lives. First I feel
Exactly.
like the real to me, I feel like the real like kind of like invasion of privacy was definitely when they were mandating the vaccine. I feel like people, if you want to get the vaccine, get it. And I feel like this is kind of a
Right.
reflection of the vaccine. I feel like it's like a domino effect, like you said. We had the debate with why are we debating over a vaccine, or there's jobs, oh, you have to be vaccinated to work here. Why?
Right.
So we've done that, and then now we're on a same-sex marriage, or not same-sex marriage. Well, yeah, same-sex marriage, same-sex relationships, contraception, abortions. Like all of these things are personal choices that people make.
Right. But what's crazy is that the people that were arguing about mask mandates and COVID vaccines and stuff like that are the same people that are pro-life. So I'm just like, okay, so you say that, getting a vaccine is a choice, but now we have we have abortion in place and you talking about it's not a choice anymore. So I'm like, people tend to really pick and choose what is a choice versus what it's not. So I think that that's also real hypocritical of pro-life people to say that, that they don't want vaccines to be mandated or a mask, but when it comes to an abortion, which is an extremely personal choice, is, oh, you can't do that because that's not fair and blah blah blah. So I'm like, to me, people are tend to be really hypocritical because you can't say one thing's okay, one thing's not. And then, like I said before, like why would it really matter to you if someone gets an abortion? you know? I'm
And
like, it got nothing to do with you. And you guys aren't the people that are also going out to adopt these kids either that,
right.
that the women don't want or that they just give up for adoption. So I'm like, almost all the people that I've met that are pro life, when I ask them about adoption, they say no. So I'm just like, so what are, okay, so you say no, the next person I'm pretty sure is going to say no either. So what's the point to, start bringing kids into the world where even the foster system in the United States is not all that good either.
And we've also seen like people can switch in a day, like they can flip flop in a day. We've seen that happen multiple times because if you think about it, like look at it when Black Lives Matter protests were happening, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, we stand with our brothers. Not all heroes wear capes." They even had this flag or whatever, cool. And then Trump loses the election, and then they go crazy, and there's an insurrection at the Capitol, and all of a sudden y'all are beating down the police and y'all are cussing at them and spitting at them. And I'm like, I'm so confused. I thought Blue Lives Matter. I thought, I at least that's what I thought. I thought y'all stand with them and not all of a sudden you beat down a hero. Which one is it? So yes,
Right.
people who are conservative, they never can make up their mind. They don't know if they want to be like liberal or conservative or what they want to do. They Baby, just say you're confused. That's it. Just say you're confused.
Yeah, I think when the attack on the Capitol happened, I woke up and I was just so confused because I was like, "What is going on? What you mean?" That
Yes.
I'm thinking like there was like an actual attack, not the actual, people of the United States attacking their own capital. I was just so confused, and it's just crazy. I know that right now that the hearings are going on right now to decide what are they going to do. But to me, that whole situation was crazy too.
America's just so ghetto. Like, oh my gosh, like y'all, we had a president who had a warrant out for his arrest. We had insurrection at the Capitol at the time. Like, who?
Yeah, and
Where did
then
he do
another thing, right? And then like another thing that is also a pretty controversial topic is the whole gun control thing. Me personally, I know that the Second Amendment was written when World War II was going on,
that? Right?
so I could understand why that rule was set in place because of what was going on. But I feel like now, is it really necessary to walk down the street with a gun or a rifle? Like, is that really that necessary?
Oh,
I don't think that we live in a country where it's that like unsafe where you need to carry something like that.
so that this all ties together. If you guys are gonna force women to have children, first of all, that they don't want, because if a girl was in a situation, she gets raped, and first of all, that she wasn't even consenting to having sex with this person, and then she has a piece of this person with her forever.
Right.
Of course, she's gonna, kind of resent the child because the child is gonna remind her of her attacker. So I think that you know you're forcing us to bring children into a world that's unsafe, that's not fit to have a, you're not it's not America is not a good place to have a family. Like, if we're being for real, it's just not a good country, honestly. I'm not saying it's not a good country. I'm just saying, like, some of our laws, I mean, I will say America does definitely have more freedoms than other countries, but a lot of laws
Right.
that are set in place are not meant to protect Americans. It's not meant to protect our well-beings and our interests. That's why I will never trust a politician, period. And that's why it's important for people to do their research on these senators, these governors, mayors, all of it. You have to do your research, like, extensive, because we have rules like this set into place that are not protecting children. We just saw that shooting that happened in Texas, and those kids were like, they haven't even really gotten to, they didn't even get to high school yet, so they didn't even get to experience life or anything, and see what they really were put on this earth to do. And we have gun laws, or America puts more value on a gun than a life, and that's just baffling to me. Like you said, I do understand why it was put in place, but then right after the Texas shooting happened, they decided to say, okay, you don't have to get a background check, you don't have to do that. You can just basically, if you got the money, you just walk in and get
Right.
it. Like, do we learn nothing? We're moving backwards. And somebody said if a woman was robbed at gunpoint and she's pregnant, the most protected party in the situation is a gun. And that's just like not right. And I do see like a lot of people that will complain, but only participate in the presidential election. It starts with us. We
Right.
people decide who gets put in these who gets decide who gets put into these political positions of power. So if we're angry about it, okay, we can sit up here, have all the rallies we want, we can have all the protests we want, we can write all the letters, do petitions, whatever. We can do all of these things, but if we don't get out and vote when it's time to vote, nothing's gonna happen. We can't just sit up here and make an Instagram post about it. We can't just sit up here and do protests. Like you have to, in order to incite change, you actually have to be the change. That's what I will
Right.
say about the generation before us. They actually wanted change, so they did what they had to do to inflict change, which was, voting, going to protest. I mean, for a while, women could not vote, and they made sure they did what they had to do in order for their voice to be heard so they could vote. So they weren't
Right.
and I mean, I think it's a different era too, because back then they didn't have social media, so they really didn't have a choice. Well, they did, but like it was just a lot harder. So I definitely think that um, the generation before us, they definitely put up with a lot more than we did. No, because I want to put up with half what they put up with. But at the same time, if they wanted change, they were going to get change. And that
Right.
they participated. And I feel like our generation needs to do a better job at actually using our voices, because the older generation, like, they'll vote, but do they really want to leave their homes? We're younger. We can take action. We know more, So I feel like we definitely need to do our parts and not just vote in a presidential election. There's only so
Yeah, and I also feel
much.
like when it comes to voting, that people, like you said, they should really do the research, because I find a lot of people that just kind of bandwagon
Mhm,
what the next person says, and you don't really know like what you're voting for, what this person stands
mhm.
for, what plans that they want to bring into place. So I think that research is also really big, because you can't just be voting because the next person said, "Oh, vote for this person." And you got to also think about that it goes way past just voting for the president. You
Right,
have to vote for governors, senates, and everything like that, because that's what makes up this whole democracy. It's not just people usually tend to just blame the president for certain things,
right, because
and
it's
I'm
easier.
like, it's really not just the president.
Yeah, everybody
And
thinks
I
it's easier, and it's easier to blame the president, honestly. So
right,
people do it.
right. And then at the moment, I'm not really a big fan of who's in office right now.
Correct.
But I feel like at this point, no one's really good in office right now, so it's just
Yeah,
up in the air. So
I feel like honestly, in the last election, we were like, screw either way. Like I was just like, it was just a matter of the lesser of the evils. Who was less evil? Like we screwed either way. Honestly and truthfully, with the last election, like y'all, it was finally our turn to vote, and this who y'all give me. Like, dang, finally my turn. This
I
who y'all
think
give me.
I feel like it's even past just the 2020 election. I think even
Yeah,
beforehand,
yeah,
people were just voting nonsense. Like I remember, I believe it was the 2016 election where people were voting for, they were writing in ballots for Hennessy, or they were writing in ballots for that gorilla that got killed,
yeah.
Harambe.
Harambe,
So
yeah,
I'm just like, okay, y'all wasted about a couple thousand votes on what? Like come on now. I
people were trying to be
understand stuff
funny.
could be jokes and giggles, but
Yeah,
it's not, it wasn't a moment to do that.
people were trying to be funny, and they thought, and I understand, we do have there you can bring humor to situations.
Right.
When you're in a messy situation, I get all that, but there's a time and a place for everything, and let's be appropriate. Okay, was it really necessary
Right.
to vote on a ballot?
'Cause to me it was funny, but then you think about it, I'm like, okay, it's really not, because
Yeah,
now you just wasted, a vote that could have mattered in the long run on,
yeah.
trying to be funny for social media and stuff like that.